can't get it.
But you see how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, problems with the unstabilized person. Get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed. And once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Why will a medical doctor work for 9 months, 16 months, 19 months? We can't get it.
But you see how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, problems with the unstabilized person. Get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed. And once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning. Welcome to Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. Today is April 25th of 2022, and it's my pleasure to host you on the program. With me in the studio is our public affairs analyst, Samela Musa. Samela Musa, it's a pleasure to host you on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Yes, before we start, we want to say apologize for starting the program a bit behind schedule. It was due to some circumstances beyond our control. But however, we are on it now and we wish to bring you the usual papers for review, and that is Nigeria's most influential sister publication, National Economy, the Punch newspaper, and this day. And I'm yours, Winifred Ubebo. Thank you for joining in. We'll be flagging up with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's see what leadership is leading with. And incidentally, while leadership is leading with PDP, Northern PDP consensus story, APC on the Punch newspaper, on the other hand, is leading with APC consensus story. Let's see leadership first. Northern PDP consensus, Ango Abdullahi on his own over Saraki Balaz's choice, Baba Ahmed. Northern PDP consensus, Ango Abdullahi on his own over Saraki Balaz's choice, that is according to Baba Ahmed, says he can't decide for the North. You are being insubordinate. Bauchi Governor Bala Mohamed Bala fires back. How we arrived at the consensus choice, Unongo. At this point, I'm quitting, says Saraki. I'll take it again. Northern PDP consensus. Ango Abdullahi on his own over Saraki Bala's choice, Baba Ahmed, says he can't decide for the North. You are being insubordinate. Bauchi Governor fires back. How we arrived at the consensus choice, Unongo. At this point, I'm quitting, says Saraki, former Senate President. From leadership, while leadership is talking about PDP consensus, APC, on the other hand, is also embroiled in consensus saga. Let's see what the Punch newspaper has on its cover today. The Punch. Yeah, while we wait for them to bring on the Punch, Samala, what do you have to say about this consensus saga from the North?
Okay, I think there's quite a lot of misconceptions about this consensus issue. Number one is that the Northern Elders Forum is not a party and is not a member of the PDP. It is also important to note that it was just some candidates from Northern Nigeria, which are Senator Bukola Saraki, Senator Bala Mohammed, Amin Wazir Tambuwal, and Hayatuddin Mohammed. And there are still some other aspirants from Northern Nigeria who refused to join the consensus. So people like Atiku, but you see, it was their own idea to say, well, since we have this issue about some of our party members from the South are saying this ticket should be zoned to the South. And we are also of the opinion that out of the 16-year rule of the PDP, 14 actually was in the South. And so it is just fair for the party to decide to actually let us go instead of now trying to use the APC as a party to determine where our own ticket should go. So they came up with that arrangement to say, well, the only way we can actually make any headway trying to fight the tickets down south is to see how we can even be one first and foremost. Let's put our house in order before we can begin to now slug it out with the southern part of Nigeria within the party. And they agreed between the four of them. They approached Atiku. He actually just spoke, on the surface. He never told them whether he's a part of it or he's not going to be a part of it. But his body language actually shows categorically that he was not going to be a part of it. And so when they waited for him and they didn't see any sign from him, they moved ahead. So it's important to know that it wasn't any elder from the north who called these aspirants together. They themselves called themselves together to say, let us agree and get a consensus amongst us, right? So they started this whole process. They went to Mina to meet, IBB, which eventually he said, well, they can try and meet people like Professor Ango so that it can be properly channeled on the platform on the Northern Elders Forum, But it's also important to know that because over the weekend we saw so many divisions within the Northern Elders Forum, which was largely because of Akim Baba Ahmed. Now, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, it is important to know that he has his own candidates.
Okay.
And his candidate is Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. And he has never hidden that agenda from the onset. And so when they started this consensus arrangement, some of them were of the opinion that, look, this guy has always been rooting for Aminu Waziri Tambuwal. But you see, there's a particular bloc within the Northern Elders Forum who felt that in the spirit of fairness, justice and equity, it is just okay that you feel if the Northwest has actually produced a president in the past, if the ticket of the same PDP, because it was PDP that gave Eradua, if it was still the same PDP who gave Atiku after the consensus, the same consensus in 2011 first.
Okay.
Yes. And then coming back to 2019.
Oh yes.
They still gave it.
I remember.
Yeah, they still gave it to him again, which is Northeast. That the Northwest, the North Central has always been feeling like they are never part of the scheme of things within the North. You understand? They have never produced no ticket has ever been given to them from that part. They have never produced any president or vice president since we started this democratic dispensation. So it's just okay for us to give them sense of belonging, so that it doesn't look like, because there's that notion out there that, it has always been core north. And when you say core north, you've already automatically excluded the North Central, and that's why you have so many divisions within the North Central, people who feel, they have not been in the scheme of things, so they decided, some of them were rooting for a Bukola Saraki to say, this time around, let's even try this North Central thing. And then you see, Bukola Saraki has some advantages around him that is making some of them to actually root for him. Is that when you look at his name, he's bearing a Yoruba name. When you look at his wife is from the Southwest. His wife is a Christian. His mother is a Christian. So whatever it is that some of our Southern people want to push forward as, why they feel it should come to their place. This guy, to a large extent, possesses some of those criteria. Some of those qualities. So, and geographically, is a Northerner. You understand? So, to a large extent, we can also feel very safe from the North. And at the same time, the people of the South will feel, to a large extent, it's a part of them. So perhaps it can be the best material for us at this particular time to sell. And when you look at, because the Northern Elders Forum stated the criteria they used in arriving at both himself and Bala Mohammed, which, the first one was the assessment of the candidates. The second one was the issue of the geographical location of where they come from. You understand? Which was one of the major things that actually worked against Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, because he's coming from the Northwest. And when you look at it, the Northwest has produced some persons in the past. We don't even want to go into that, people like Shagari, but if we're talking about PDP as a party, it has produced a Yaradua. And this incumbent president is actually also from the Northwest. Are you saying in the North, it's only the Northwest that has the presidential material? Is the only qualified zone? No, let's look outside that shore. Of course, the Northeast has taken a shot at it twice, even though the first time the Atiku lost out at the primary election because it was Jonathan that won that primaries, until 2015, they still, 2019, they still zone it back to the northeast. That, well, since the North Central had never taken a shot at this, let us give it a try this time around. So that was what informed the decision. And I can tell you, there are prominent Nigerians who were actually involved, because I followed up the process to a very large extent. I know IBB tried to reach out to quite a lot of people, including the generals, including the Kaduna Mafians and all of that, who actually, so many of them actually worked from under the radar. They didn't want their, so many of them didn't really try to avoid all this limelight. So to a very large extent, I'm not surprised, because I knew there are going to be backlashes in the long run. If you have people, the moment Tambuwal got the nod that his zone is going to work against him, he tried to chicken out of the consensus arrangement. So he issued a statement on that same day when he got the hint about where the pendulum is actually swinging. So I know people like Akim Baba Ahmed are going to come out with some kind of salvo, which we are saying today. So that's part of the game actually. And the game is just started. We're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of drama in a few days to come, because we are looking at 3rd of June for all parties to have submitted the names of their candidates. So really, just a month, we're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of drama playing out.
Now, what will you say to the last right that Saraki says is quitting?
No, what Saraki is actually saying is that consensus or no consensus, he is in the race. So if you say the consensus is not working, I have also quit.
Okay.
Yes, you understand. So, but he's definitely in the race.
Now, Wike, the governor of Rivers State, has said that if PDP does not get it right this time, does not win the presidential, PDP is done for. Now, what is your assessment of this?
Well, that's his own opinion. If as of today, we still don't have any major opposition party apart from the PDP, I do not think that assertion is holding water anywhere. Because I'm going to tell you for a fact that immediately before the primaries and shortly after the primaries, there are going to be some decampings from both parties. Some people will leave the APCs for the PDP, some people will leave the PDP to the APC. So the PDP still remain the major opposition party as we speak today. That it is not going to win the election does not mean that it will lose all the governorship seats. You understand? So really, we saw how the AC came out of AD at that time. They only had about 4 or 5 states. Even when AC was coming up, it was only the governors of the Southwest who formed the party. But eventually, this was what metamorphosed into the APC in the long run of what we're saying today. So that does not necessarily mean that's the end. There was a time we all thought the PDP is gone forever. You understand? But, still thanks to people like Wike who stood by and, fought through till the Supreme Court and until they got that judgment. And that was one of the things that actually brought the PDP back to limelight. But you see, politicians being what they are, sometimes they get very desperate. They begin to issue threats, begin to, vituperate at some point, say all manner of things, use anything they think they can use to make sure that it favors them, But eventually, people like them will still be the one to say, well, let's still put our party back in order since we have lost the election. That's if they lost.
Yes, PDP next said they were going to sit down to look into the issue of zoning. Now, in your view, do you think the party is very fair to the South that has held the party this long?
Did you just say PDP or APC?
PDP.
Okay.
PDP. They said they were going to sit down the neck issue of zoning.
You see, the PDP is in confusion as to where to zone it to in the real sense of it. You see, because when you are in opposition, what you are looking at is that which candidate will make you to win an election. Because at that point, what you are just struggling for is to get the power. This was what played out when the APC fielded Muhammadu Buhari. Yes. At some point, there are insinuations that he might not get it. Even when we know, now there's an alliance, they form APC, Buhari is supposed to be the presidential candidate. there are jitters here and there that he might not be the candidate. Some persons in the party were forced to return back to him because at that time they felt we're in opposition. Our priority should be winning an election, even though some of us know that he does not have the capacity to govern this nation. We know his weaknesses. This is who he is. This is who he is. This is who he is. But if he's the only person that can make us to win this election, so be it. And that was what played out. So really, the PDP also is gambling now with, so what's going to happen if we tilt it towards this direction? Do you think we can win this election? If it goes this way, do you think we can win this election? Now, what is adding to that confusion is where the APC is also zoning it to. The APC's body language is showing that it's going to the south.
Yeah, they have made it obvious that it's going to the south.
You understand?
And perhaps in view of that, you've not seen a northerner or a northern contender for that position.
No, there are, but not serious ones. There are people like Yaya Bello. There's another guy who is trying to raise funds to buy the form now. who is trying to raise funds.
So you can give it to the APC. APC has been clear, right?
No, it's not about giving it to the APC. Whether the APC likes it or not, it shows so much insensitivity if in your party, a northerner is ending his tenure. You still want to bring out in another northerner. You get what I'm saying? So common sense will just prevail in their own case. But you see, that of PDP is neither here or there. I mean, both the people on this side have their own genuine points. These ones also have valid points to say why it should come.
Just like I said earlier, it's all about PDP consensus. APC is also having the same issue on the point. Let's see what Punch is saying on regarding their consensus. The Punch. Consensus plan for Jonathan unsettles APC. Tinubu, Osinbajo camps, others kick. Consensus plan for Jonathan unsettles APC. Tinubu, Osinbajo camps, others kick. Jonathan's backers in dilemma over APC's past attacks on ex-president. Fear rejection. Aspirants looking for consensus are lazy. Nobody will impose candidates, says Tinubu Group. VP will emerge candidate supporters. Yaya Bello beat GEJ campaign council. That's all on Punch newspaper.
Yeah.
Now, this consensus plan, what do you think? Because there has been speculations that Jonathan is going to emerge the consensus candidate.
You see, my only fear for Jonathan is that he shouldn't allow himself to be rubbish in the long run. Because if you were a former president, someone of that caliber should have 100% assurance that the ticket is coming to him on a platter of gold before he ventures into anything that can cause him some form of embarrassment. If he's not getting it straight up from the president that, look, I want to hand over to you, he shouldn't dabble into it. It's going to be an embarrassment to his status, to his pedigree, because it doesn't really augur well. He's not a first timer that is trying the waters. I mean, when you're talking about people you should be seeking counsel for in terms of presidential election in Nigeria, Jonathan is an authority, because he has seen it all. He has seen victory as a presidential candidate, and he has seen defeat as a presidential candidate. So he can tell you both sides of the coin, when it comes to that. So, and he shouldn't allow people, some desperate politicians, to drag him into it without having some assurance that really he's going to get the ticket. Getting the ticket is not the assurance that he's going to win the election, but at least let it be that he has the assurance of getting the ticket, so that they will say he is the APC presidential flag bearer. It is a humiliation when you say a Jonathan went into the primary election and he lost. You get what I'm saying? It is a humiliation. So he shouldn't dabble into it unless he's getting 100% assurance that this will happen.
Let's see what the first writer says. Jonathan's backers in dilemma over APC's past attacks on the ex-president. Fear rejection. And before that is exactly what played out in Edo State. The switch candidate, the former APC candidate became PDP candidate, and the former. And you know what happened? The president, the governor Obaseki didn't even need to campaign much. What he did was to use the previous campaign.
Done
You
against
understand,
him.
against his opponent. I was
Yeah.
using it, playing it, and that was
Yeah.
exactly what happened. Perhaps that is what's going to happen. The opposition
Exactly.
PDP will just be playing
Exactly.
APC's
One of the things the APC
manifesto or campaign slogans against the president.
One of the things
president,
the APC is going to achieve for itself by bringing a Jonathan is to show to the whole world that they actually lied against him.
That is exactly what is.
All those names calling, all those calling out, and all those campaign of calumny that went against Jonathan during that time. As a matter of fact, there will be a time they will need to come out to Nigerians to apologize for actually maligning his image before them. That he was never a thief, he was never clueless. No, they will, if they need Nigerians' votes, we will actually call them out to say you need to apologize for lying to Nigerians.
The chairman Oshomole did that in Edo State. Of course, Edo State did not buy.
Well, it is not an issue.
People did not buy that apology.
It is not an issue of whether Nigerians will accept that apology or not. But first and foremost, first step going forward is that they need to tender that apology first and foremost. You understand?
Yes.
So it is not another thing whether Nigerians will actually accept the apology or not. But for sure, they're going to achieve that for themselves, that they are just a party of liars and mudslingers. And then Jonathan is actually going to achieve one thing, that he's going to be vindicated by the same people who actually call him all the names in the world. And now the same people are coming to say, in fact, we ourselves, we knew we lied against you, because that they will have to do on campaign podiums if eventually he becomes the flag bearer of the party.
If he becomes the flag bearer,
yes,
like we are speculating.
Yes.
Don't you think he's also changing his people? He's also clamoring for 2 terms, not just 1 term, not this, as Jonathan is bound to do if he clinches the ticket.
Well, you see, in politics, nothing is actually cast in stone. It can change, actually. That he is going in for 4 years does not mean that a Northerner will succeed him. But I don't believe so, really, because if, as a sitting president, you have all the politicking to do. It's just about, that's why I keep saying politics is about negotiations and all of that. He can also bring in another Southerner to say, this is my successor, but he's going to use, we're going to have unwritten agreement somewhere that he's going to spend just 4 years. Okay. So all these kind of things happen all the time.
Okay,
there's no guarantees.
Like in his case too. Anyway, we are still not done with this consensus plan in the APC. Now, the second rider say aspirants looking for consensus are lazy. Nobody will post candidate. Now, given the electoral act that we have in place, you have to, if you need a consensus, you need to get the signature of other aspirants. Now, with the kind of pedigrees aspirants we have for APC clamoring for that position, do you see them actually signing that agreement?
I have said it severally, and I think even the last time I came here, I said it. That one thing is sure, an Atiku will leave the PTB if he's not given the ticket, and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will leave the APC if he's not given the ticket. Those ones are guaranteed. The only thing that will make an Asiwaju not to leave the party, which is going to create serious chaos, is to use the EFCC to force him to do otherwise. But also knowing the kind of person he is, I know he knows the timing is too short. They would rather end it in court, and so he's not going to chicken out even when you use the EFCC. It's all out. There's no going back for him as far as he's concerned, So really, for people from his camp that are saying the aspirants are lazy, they should rather be blaming their own party stalwarts who are trying to bring in the Jonathan. I don't really think Jonathan had any intention of contesting for president, because otherwise he should have been showing interest in the PDP. There was no any
speculations. He has been mooted. He has never dispelled that.
What I mean is that for the past 4 years, not until maybe sometimes last year, for a party man who still feels he has something at stake, he will be, participating in all the activities of the PDP.
Never done so.
You understand? He never did. He just allowed the PDP to go on with their thing, like as if, look, I'm done for life. Until some persons in APC try to start luring him into it. You understand? And up till today, I don't think it is official anywhere where he has come to the APC. You understand? So Perhaps maybe they want the lorry to go first, and then one day they will just bring out his registration card to say, oh, he did that. It was just that it wasn't public. You understand? So really, those are the kind of things that are bound to happen. But of course, I know and Asiwaju will not sign that. And Osibajo will, if the president is actually backing Jonathan, he will have to back down for Jonathan. One of the things that is actually spurring the Osibajo campaign is simply because they've had the feelings that Mr. President is not willing to back Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, and so therefore he should try his luck. Nobody can tell. So really, but once he knows this is where the president is going to get back on track. So that's it.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. From the Punch, we're moving over to the next paper we have on our menu for review, and that is our sister publication, National Economy. We are talking business on the national economy. National economy. On national economy, from National Economy Board of Economists, high production costs, others may shortchange Nigeria in African free trade, African continental free trade agreement markets. That is a mouthful. African continental free trade agreement markets. High production costs, others may shortchange Nigeria in African Continental Free Trade Agreement market. That is on national economy. And the story is coming from National Economy Board of Economists.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have dealt with this issue sometimes in the past. The same National Economy, brought up something similar in the past.
Yes,
when we're talking about how companies are actually leaving Nigeria, and then the competitiveness between companies who are producing in Nigeria with their with other companies who are producing the same products actually in other climes or in other countries across Africa. How favorable would Nigeria be able to compete? These companies will be able to compete the international market. There's no way you can't overemphasize the fact that the cost of production is getting higher, not just on a slow pace level in Nigeria. It's actually skyrocketing by the day. It's such that today, if you're trying to write the items you want to get from the market, maybe you got them 2 weeks ago, you cannot budget the same amount for how much you're going to get them this week. It's certain that something must have changed, and the change is always on the higher side, not on the downside. So really, high cost of production is gradually, I don't want to say that it totally has actually shortchanged Nigeria, but it's gradually shortchanging Nigeria. It is not that it is already shortchanging Nigeria, in this AFCT FTA market. It is glaring that is what is going on. We might, maybe for lack of not be trying to be pessimistic, trying to use this language that it may, but of course, I mean, that's the situation today, that Nigeria is actually not finding it funny. Manufacturing companies in Nigeria are not finding it funny. There's no way you can compete with, sister companies, or similar companies across even West Africa. You can imagine if you're producing tomato paste in Ghana and someone is doing the same in Nigeria. Just the cost of diesel, cost of electricity alone will tell on what is obtainable here and what is obtainable down there, where they have steady electricity. That in itself alone is something else. Not to talk of lately that we started having, today they tell you the national grid has dropped, and then tomorrow it has collapsed. When it didn't collapse, how much light do we have? Not to talk about when it now collapses. So really, there's so much trouble, and people who are into manufacturing are not finding it easy. It's not actually the best of times for us in this country.
Thank you so much. Then
Yeah.
from national economy, we're moving over to the last paper we have for review, and that is this day newspaper. Oil theft. Navy seizes 6 million liters of stolen crude from illegal refiners. Oil theft. Navy seizes 6 million liters of stolen crude from illegal refiners. Buhari mourns over 100 persons killed in Imo explosion, says it's national disaster, insists those responsible must be brought to justice, directs security agencies to clamp down on oil theft.
Well, you see, this issue of oil theft, it has come to stay with us in this country. These oil thefts have been going on even right from the days of the military era. You know, it is on account that we have some billionaires in the world today that part of where they made their billions were actually was actually in Nigerian waters.
Yes.
You know, trading in stolen crude and stuff like that. I know that there was a time Abramovich name, the owner of Chelsea Football Club's name was very prominent around that circle. That during the military days, he was one of those who actually carrying crude from Nigeria, and of course, these are illegal, businesses going on, and this has been here for decades, you know. And then even the security agencies, I don't know what really happened. Maybe someone gave them matching orders, or somebody, read them the riot act or something. But as a matter of fact, I know there's something that is in existence for a very long time within the military, be it the Navy. As a matter of fact, they have a joint task force,
Yes.
which comprises of virtually all of them.
Mhm.
There's a lobby for you to be on that JTF in Niger Delta. There's a certain amount of millions you need to pay, because it is expected that it is a
Yes.
place where
You make money.
you make so much money.
Mhm.
So people, it is very
Illegal.
competitive. People really want to be assigned to that place, either as commander
theft.
or as a
Mhm.
member of the JTF. If you are posted to Niger Delta as a member of the JTF, you are assured that in less than a year you will have a house in Abuja.
Oh yes, oh yes.
You understand?
Like,
You get so really.
like that.
I don't know what is really going on. Maybe they just try to, showcase some scapegoats or something like that. But really, to fight that cartel of the illegal businesses going on there, you need more than just this Navy thing that they are parading
Yes,
up and down.
I agree with you, because there was some days when I was on the team for this hard deck to clean up the Niger Delta.
Okay.
And it so happened that we chanced upon some soldiers stealing some crude
Crude
oil,
oil, yeah.
and they almost even threatened to shoot on site.
Yeah, there's so much killings
Situation
going
that
on
I'll
there.
never be able to forget. Honestly,
Yeah.
There's so much stealing. I think leadership even did story how many years ago on the Navy. It's just a cartel of
Yeah.
security operatives. So it's not just talking, because you have to bring the high and mighty down. When you're
I'm telling you the truth.
a few months ago, the River State governor even chanced upon some illegal, and he was raising alarm, and strangely enough, the presidency kept quiet. I think they saw it as a wicked thing, the River State.
Yes.
And meanwhile, this is a commonwealth money that is just being preferred away. So now that Buhari wants over 100 persons, this money they say is about 109 cases. So what do you think? What are your postulations concerning our crude oil?
You see, Nigerians are just very funny people. Sometimes you see a tanker of crude oil, of petrol, that had an accident, either fell over or something. And then what I expect people to do is that to sense danger and people should take to their heels. But you will see Nigerians carrying buckets to go and scoop. Something that if anything, perchance, just strike right there, all of you are dead. You will see Nigerians, sometimes a whole family, the father, the mother, and the children will all carry buckets and bowls to go and be scooping petrol. What kind of people are we? They must have seen this danger. I don't know what the security operatives were doing at the site where we had this explosion. They saw how people were trooping there to be scooping this petrol. I don't know whether they try to stop them or they themselves actually join. It's because sometimes we had incidences where you see security operatives also joining the people who are scooping, you know, you understand, with their uniform, doing the same thing that they should stop people from doing, you know. So really, it is a disaster, and I mean, it is an event that happens virtually almost every year. We saw the ones that happened sometimes back in Lagos, somewhere around Lagos. You know, the casualties were, of course, maybe
Yes,
like
many
times
years
three
ago.
of it.
Yes, that's
you
exactly
know.
what I was going to say. Because it's a recurring decima in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, it happens all the time, all the time. I don't know when people will learn to know that your life is far much more important than how much are you going to get from the crude or from whatever it is that you're scooping that is worth your life, you know. So, and unfortunately, well, we mourn the people who actually lost their loved ones, and I mean the ones who were killed, and people who are mourning their loved ones, you know, we mourn with them. But of course, it should be a lesson to all Nigerians that look, petrol or crude is not something to joke with, because when the danger in it comes, you cannot, it overpowers you. It's not something you can actually escape from, because the way it travels, it travels with the same speed of light. When the fire starts, it's engulfed the whole place, that nobody, you can hardly see people who say, oh, they escape from it unhurt. It's really unfortunate that we have to allow this kind of thing to happen.
Yeah, thank you so much, viewers. Well, one more story before we go. A story that has actually made the headlines in most of the papers this Monday, and it's an event that took place over the weekend. Aisha Buhari, the first lady, you know, who hosted
The presidential aspirants.
And he says he advises presidential aspirants to pick women as running mates. What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's a good move, but I think what Aisha is also trying to do is to position herself. You know, yeah, that this happens all the time. You see, sometimes they are not happy when they are leaving the seat of power, and then they don't want to be so irrelevant. You understand? So she's trying to position herself that perhaps, at least I know one of the people that will come for this event is the person who is going to win the presidency in the long run. So he won't say, I'm not with him. You understand? So this happens all the time. For whatever reason, maybe for protection, because
you think it was for self-serving?
Of course, a lot of times this kind of things is for self-serving. If eventually the incoming president is the kind of person who wouldn't look the other way, Aisha would not enjoy her money with her two eyes closed. I can tell you that for a fact. I know what Ture Eradua went through. I know a lot of people who wade into Ture Eradua's issue that says, look, since the husband is no more, please just allow this woman. You know she's a woman. You know she doesn't know much, but the kind of amount of the amount of money that was found within her account and her proxies is not something that even Yaradua, if he was hale and healthy, he can't amass half of that wealth. So maybe perhaps she also is envisaging that maybe in case if you want to be brutal when you come in, you will also know that I was part of the people who were your supporters. I'm telling you, you know. But these people have actually done a lot, and well, we wish them
What
best
is
of
it
luck.
about our first ladies? Come to think of it.
Well, it's more or less like a tradition. Sometimes you don't blame them.
Also running battle with EFCC.
Sometimes you don't blame them out totally. What happened is that they learned from Ture Eradua, and in Ture's case, it was because of her husband's ill health that you find Nigerian governors, you see a sitting governor going to sit down on the floor and be calling Ture mommy because of what they wanted to eat. It's so unfortunate that you reduce yourself to that. A sitting governor that is not there on appointment, that you were voted for, just like the way her own husband was being voted for. You understand? And constitutionally, of what importance is her office as the First Lady of Nigeria? And then you see our governors with their babariga going there as if they are going there with their cap in hand to go and beg. Just go there and go and sit down on the floor and be calling her mommy. You understand? So their patients saw how much power was around Ture. So that was why she was asking questions. Why will her own be different? You understand? And the same thing Aisha was also asking when the cabal were trying to shut her in. That look, was it not in this country that Ture Eradua was having her way? Was it not in this country that Dame Patience was having her way? Why will some people, in the name of her husband relative, try to cage her and make her look like as if she's irrelevant or inconsequential? And she fought until, at least to a large extent, she got what she wanted. You know, so really, it's becoming a tradition in Nigeria that office is an office that you can't even get something from the president until you are in good terms with that office. You know. So
thank you so much.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, viewers, this will come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria Leadership Television. We apologize again for bringing the program a bit behind schedule. As I said earlier, it was due to some circumstances beyond our schedule. Well, tomorrow is another day. Don't forget to keep a date with us. I remain Winifred. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.